Hey everybody, it's Nate Zelinksy with Ice Addiction. I appreciate everybody jumping on this e-blast. We're going to get very much more active with it. We're going to do a bunch of giveaways, tips, education, all that kind of stuff. So in the past, our emails have been more focused on our events. We're going to bring back education, hopefully help everyone become a more successful ice angler. So again, if you are new to this e-blast or been a part of it for a long time, whether we obtained your email through an event or you just signed up because you want fishing information, we're hoping you're going to gain a lot of value from it. So again, I'm Nate Zelinksy, owner-operator of Tightline Outdoors and the Ice Addiction Tournament Series presented by Clam. So I'm here at the St. Paul Ice Show. So right now, obviously, it's ice season. If you're an ice fisherman, this right here, this show is the home and the biggest event in the ice industry. Every product that starts in the ice industry starts here at the St. Paul Ice Show. So I am here representing Clam at the show. We're excited about it. But I want to give everybody a tip. So obviously, we're just starting to get ice. A lot of our walleye waters haven't quite froze up yet, but a lot of the high country presenting opportunity at trout, lakers, possibly maybe even some salmon and or some pike are frozen. But I want to give everybody a tip. So when I approach early ice, especially, excuse me, on the trout side of things, I do a couple of things. So number one, on the rainbow side of things, when I'm fishing rainbows, cutthroats, even browns, my main focus is a loud bait in shallow water. So if I want to catch more fish, I am fishing shallow. So sub, 6 to 8 feet of water, oftentimes 4 to 5 feet of water. So when I approach a body of water, I'm going to look for some sort of transition, a rock edge, a drop off, but I'm going to stay shallow. So I'm going to stay in, 4 or 5 feet of water, maybe even 6 to 8, but I would say generally speaking, 4 to 5 feet of water. So that's step one. Shallow water is going to present bigger fish and more aggressive fish. With that said, I'm also going to use an extremely loud bait. So many oftentimes in the ice, course of the season, I'm going to use small presentations, bait, dead stick. Early ice like this, I'm going to stay shallow and I'm going to fish aggressive baits. Like right here, this is a rattle bait. This is actually a JR's tackle ripper bait. But long story short, little rattle baits, lipless crankbaits, things like that, very aggressively work. So I'm going to be sitting in that shallow water and I'm going to be stroking that bait very aggressively. And that's a technique that is going to catch a lot of fish and catch big fish. It's going to draw fish in. I'm not necessarily hitting it on bottom. I'm going to keep the bait about a foot off bottom in that shallow water, work it aggressively. It will blow your mind how many fish you catch and how many big fish you'll catch in that shallow water. So again, no matter where you're at in the ice in the West, whether it's Utah, Colorado, you're going to have success in that shallow water with that style bait. So again, sit just offshore, shallow water. I promise you, an aggressive bait like a lipless crankbait or a rattle bait, you're going to catch more fish and bigger fish. Have confidence in it. Oftentimes, I don't even put a dead stick out with this. I'm just fishing one bait, working it aggressively. It'll blow your mind what you catch. So put that into play when you get on the ice early season like this right now. Secondly, I know we've had a lot of questions about big lake trout. I've done a lot of seminars and videos on shallow water lake trout fishing. Anywhere that you have lake trout, oftentimes you're going to have a split in that population. You'll oftentimes have fish in shallow water feeding on rainbows and suckers, and then you're going to have deep fish feeding on kokanee or deep water trout or whatever food source is in that deeper water. But most of the fishes will have a small population of those lake trout that move up into shallow water to feed on rainbows. Those fish are so aggressive and fun, I encourage anglers to start targeting those shallow water lake trout. So if you want to start catching some bigger lake trout and some more aggressive lake trout, try targeting those fish in that shallow water, anywhere you'd have rainbows. So oftentimes that's going to be sub 10 feet of water. So when I go for those lakers in that shallow water, I am literally looking simply where I'm going to have a lot of rainbows. So if I can go to a place where I have a lot of rainbow trout in that shallow water, you're going to have those big lakers up there. Obviously, if you can have more contour, the better. So if you can have a nice point extending out in the water, a shoreline, maybe 8 to 10 feet of water that drops off to deeper water, that's the type area where you're going to find those big giant lakers cruising to feed on those rainbows. Your technique, big baits. So oftentimes I see laker anglers using too small of a presentation on that shallow water bite, and you just don't have the interest to draw in those big lake trout. Those lakers are feeding on stocker rainbows. Those rainbows on the small side are 9-10 inches, on the big side are 13 to 14 inches. So if you want to draw in those big lake trout and have success on those big lake trout, you got to use a big bait. So we're running 7, 8, 10-inch tubes. We're running big paddle tail baits. I mean, even like swim baits that you're going to rig on a jig head. Running big finesse minnows, big, just big plastics. Again, 7 is small, 10's about perfect. 12 is on that larger size. So you're running a big bait, shallow water, mimic it like a little rainbow swimming. It'll blow your mind the size of those lake trout you catch. So again, that's a tip to start you off on the season. Rainbows, browns, super shallow water, loud, aggressive rattle baits, lake trout, shallow water where they're feeding on those rainbows. Either one of those, you're going to have a lot of success. Hopefully you enjoy that. And again, Ice Addiction tickets are on sale. We're excited about that. We'll start announcing more things. Thanks for joining the email. If you have friends that want to see this, tell them to join the email. We're going to start giving you a lot more information, hopefully to help you catch more fish, be more successful on the ice. And again, just thanks for following us. We'll see you soon.